Hey guys, Gaddock Teeg here, bringing you all the news from the week of February 15th, 2013. We've got a ton of things to discuss this week, so let's cut the chatter and check out what happened this week in Tor. First, the obvious news. Patch 1.7 was released Tuesday, featuring the Return of the Gree event. This event takes place on the much maligned planet of Ilum. For more information on the event, head over to the Corellian Run YouTube channel for my coverage. As usual, the new content patch was accompanied with a Cartel Market update. The Space Pirates Cartel Pack is the final part of the first shipment of the random Cartel Packs and is available for the usual 360 Cartel coins. Interestingly, BioWare also released the Space Pirate Cartel Pack Hypercrate Super Extra Rainbow Edition, which contains 24 of the aforementioned Cartel Packs. This bundle will set you back 7,344 Cartel coins, saving you 1,296 or 54 Cartel coins per pack. That's a hefty chunk of change right there. This reeks of BioWare testing the waters for future Cartel Pack shipments. Also, just in time for Valentine's Day, buy that special someone a Jawa to show them you care. No, seriously, they added Jawa grams that jump out of boxes for 20 Cartel coins. Nothing says Utei like a Jawa gram. Thursday, patch 1.7a was pushed live, featuring a fix to one of the new legacy unlocks, and a nice change to the report feature. Players who frequently get reported for abusing the chat system will now receive a 12-hour temp ban from chatting. This is a welcome change that will hopefully decrease the number of flamers spamming in Gen Chat. I can hope, right? On the other hand, players who were enjoying the 1-hour cooldown to the Priority Transport Personal Starship will no longer be able to get it for free. Patch 1.7a fixed a bug that was incorrectly granting all players with the legacy buff. It seems BioWare accidentally turned the perk off for everyone, even players who spent credits to unlock it. This is a known bug, and BioWare says if you have not purchased the perk yet, do not until it has been fixed. BioWare caught some heat on Tuesday after changing the way searches were conducted on the GTN without mention in the patch notes. Joveth Gonzalez quickly chimed in saying that the patch notes have been updated to reflect the changes made. These changes in question limit all GTN searches to a maximum of 4,000 results, and requires all searches to be a minimum of 3 characters. It seems that many players doing short searches with large numbers of returns was putting stress on the GTN, causing other players to have performance issues and even crashes. The GTN has never been a strong suit of this game, and I hope the solution hinted at in this gold post comes quickly. After completing parts of the event, players questioned whether the Grey Helix components required to purchase the event weapons were mistakenly BOP instead of bind on Legacy. Jesse Sky confirms this is not a bug, and while weapons are intended to be traded amongst characters, the designers did not want players with only one character to feel that they are at an unfair disadvantage in acquiring the weapons. I'm not a big fan of this design choice, but I'll refrain from commenting for fear of going. Finally, not the biggest news of the week, but definitely my favorite, the audio cue associated with gaining the tactical advantage and upper hand buff is returning. That's right folks, get ready to hear those scoundrels giggle in glee as they uppercut you in the face. Be warned that 007 laugh you hear will be followed by a vibroblade to the gut. In order to reduce the level of noise spam that got the emote removed in the first place, characters will only make this noise if they are gaining the first stack of the buff. I'm super excited for this change, and I'll really love raiding to the tune of chuckles again. That's all the headlines from this week. If you liked this segment, make sure to check out my YouTube page at youtube.com/theGaddockTeeg. Until next week, this is Gaddock Teeg. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Hi, this is Geldarion, and you're watching the PvP segment on TORWars TV. As you can see, I'm not in my normal place, if I even have a normal place yet. I've only done one episode. This is the hotel room where I'm staying for a gaming convention, or a gaming event anyway. So, it's a little bit out of the norm, but please bear with me on that. So, I'd like to talk today about the Gree event and some things that you can do in that PvP zone to be a little bit more friendly to players. So maybe a gentleman's agreement, if you will, or gentlewoman's agreement. Kind of a way to respect your fellow players while still having a good time. And this is important to keep the community alive and keep people from having flame wars on the forums. So, what we can do here, I would suggest these 5 simple rules. The first rule will be, if someone asks you not to kill them, don't kill them. it seems like it's kind of an obvious thing. Some people may think that the person's being a coward, but they may just be trying to complete that last orb or something like that for one of their PvP quests, quote-unquote PvP quests, because they're really PvE objectives in a PvP zone. If you could just not harass people, then that'll go a long way to encouraging community on the server. And it may sound a little care bearish or whatever, but the point is, they're a player, they're wanting to just get their rep done. There are some players out there who want to fight you. Find one of them. They're more fun to fight anyway because they don't just stand there and die. The second thing I would suggest is to not camp the exact spot of the pylon that people are coming to cap at, but rather try to keep try to keep a lockdown on the areas that are coming into it, so you can have a lot of fun fighting people who are coming up into the pylon area, but you're not preventing people from capping the pylon once they get there. It's kind of a common courtesy thing, right? Another thing you can do is try not to go, the third thing that you can do is try to go around the rules that BioWare has already set in motion. For example, BioWare said that this is basically a small group PvP zone that does not allow ops groups. So it is kind of bad taste and poor sportsmanship to get together with a group of your guildmates and form an ops group. Even if it's unofficially an ops group, you have two groups, but it looks like you have 8 people or more from your guild, and trying to focus on one person or one group or whatever. It's poor taste and bad sportsmanship because it doesn't give people the opportunity to be on even ground with you if they're just pugging or if they're a smaller guild or something like that. Just in general, that's kind of a bullying move, in my opinion, my personal opinion. And there may be people who just want to hang out with their friends and do stuff, and that's cool. Just try not to use that power in a unpleasant way, I should say. So, the fourth thing you can do to kind of foster this kind of good community and not the fourth gentleman's agreement, if you will, is there are people who are trying to cap the pylon in a way that they line up and then they keep dumping the orb, and that is not I don't like that behavior personally. I've done it once because I was 3 out of 4. I was tired. I just wanted to go to bed, so I did it. Kind of felt bad about myself afterwards because it's not really PvP. So what I would recommend doing is not disrupting them. They're going to do their thing. Just let them do it. But try to make it. If you want to make it interesting, that's fine. But don't kill them while they're standing there in line. That's again, poor sportsmanship. They're going to play the game that they want to play. It's just kind of a bad way to go about that. The last thing I would say, number 5, is, and this is just in general, it's really kind of a poor taste thing to do it, is when someone is already low in health from fighting an NPC, or even when they've just engaged an NPC, don't attack them. It's poor sportsmanship, again. And it's kind of a way that they have the disadvantage because they have an NPC on them, damaging them at the same time you are damaging them. So they literally will never win against you unless they are just the most amazing player that has ever been on Star Wars. Or if there are certain classes that can survive NPC hits while simultaneously doing massive damage to a player. I don't personally think it would be fun to win against the people who are in a battle with an NPC. I can see that some people would think that would be just fine to do that. And each to their own. These are just, again, some suggestions I would say would be a good idea. Kind of a nice, clean fight, so to speak. Wait for them to finish their fight with the NPC. Wait for them to heal up with their out of combat heal skill. And then attack them. That's perfectly fine. Now, you can attack them anytime you want, really. But the nice time to attack them is to wait after they're finished with the NPC. So, especially since there are some of those pylons with the pylon guardians that are very, very powerful champion level NPCs. So, anyway, those are just some suggestions, some ideas on how you might have a good time while still keeping yourself on the ethical high ground, so to speak. And you can arrange fights in that area. It's quite a bit of fun. even same faction is kind of amusing because you get to kill those people who kind of annoyed you in the past in war zones. I always like that about the Outlaws Den, and so this does put you in a nice, convenient position to do that where a lot of people have been gathered. So, but anyway, I hope you like this segment. Let me know if there's anything I can change or anything I would add. Any topics you want me to discuss. Obviously the big one this week was the Gree event, since that just launched. But anything you want me to talk about, I'm happy to do so. So anyway, this is Geldarion signing off.
Hey guys, Gaddock Teeg here, and this is a video guide for the hard mode Xenoanalyst II encounter, the operations boss located inside the Grey Sea Can. This boss requires the basic setup of 2 tanks and 2 healers on 8 man, and 2 tanks and 4 healers on 16 man. While there are a lot of moving parts to this encounter, it really doesn't require that much gear. While being fully decked out in Dreadguard will help, this boss can easily be taken down in campaign level gear. The real trick is getting all the mechanics down. The first ability of note is the boss's time limit buff. This buff lasts 10 minutes in story mode and 7 minutes in hard mode. If the buff runs out, the boss will enrage and the encounter has failed. Groups will have to maximize their DPS time on the boss in order to kill him in time. One of the main ways to maximize DPS is during the problematic solving evaluation phases. This is a 90-second channeled ability by the boss that causes him to become immune to all damage for the duration. In order to bring the shield down, players will have to interact with the purple consoles around the boss. In hard mode, players may only channel 1 console per phase, so players should be assigned a console to click, at least for the first time the ability is cast. Shortly after bringing the boss's shields down, he will begin casting Thermal Tolerance, which will stack a debuff on the main tank, increasing damage taken by up to 200% at 10 stacks. The tank should wait a few seconds, then pop all his cooldowns, including Focus Defense if the tank happens to be a Guardian. After the channel is complete, the off-tank will taunt the boss and begin tanking. The next thing the boss will cast is Environmental Awareness. The boss will look at one of the 3 data cores around the room and shoot a grayish beam towards it. The players will have 30 seconds to destroy that core. If they fail, the boss will one-shot the tank and other players. As soon as the raid sees Environmental Awareness being cast, they should immediately start attacking the core. This includes the tank and healers. If done in time, the boss will be unable to act for a few seconds, so get your free damage in while you can. Next, the boss will do another problem-solving phase, but this time you do not want to immediately hit the consoles. First, everyone should group up on the tank and AoE down the dog ads that spawn. It is very important to note that in hard mode, the first tank will still have the thermal weakness debuff, and should avoid taking aggro until it wears off. Once the ads are defeated, run to the consoles and activate the boss again. At this point, the boss repeats the first phase with a Thermal Tolerance followed closely by an Environmental Awareness. If the first tank is finding its cooldowns are not back in time for the second thermal cast, your group can have the second tank pick up the boss after killing the dogs, and have the tank switch roles this time. Make sure players are again moving to the data cores as soon as they become targeted. The boss will again summon ads, but this time they will be brutes that hit like trucks. The good thing is they are very slow and can be kited. The easiest way to handle this phase is to have the tank with a thermal debuff AoE taunt the ads and run far away from the group. It is important that he never gets in range of the ads because he will still have the debuff for about 10 seconds while kiting. This is the perfect job for an assassin but can be done by anyone. Once the first tank taunts, the second tank will mark one of the ads, taunt it, and the group will focus fire. Continue picking off the ads one by one until they're all dead, and click the console to activate the boss. This is probably the most difficult part of the encounter and will take some time to perfect. Once everyone is back on the boss, you'll need to push him to 20% before the timer runs out. As long as your group killed the ads and activated the consoles in a timely fashion, the enrage should not be a factor. At 20%, the boss begins casting Generate Urgency at random group members. This will easily two-shot non-tanks, so tanks should cycle taunts and keep the boss on them as long as they can. The boss will cast faster and faster until he's defeated, so burn him with everything you've got and success will be yours. If you'd like to see more boss guides like this one, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any SWTOR related updates. This has been Gaddock Teeg reminding you to pop all cooldowns.
folks, and welcome to another edition of Community Blender. In this episode, episode 4 of our Community Blender segment, we're going to talk about in-game events and holidays. I actually talked about this on my blog today over at AlanShotFirst.com, and it's one of the things that frustrates me, and I understand why they're there, but at the same time, it's just not something that I've ever taken the time to really enjoy. Now, in Star Wars The Old Republic, the first in-game event that they had was the Rat Ghoul Plague Outbreak. It started on Tatooine. You got to get some cool pets, you got to do some things. It was progressive, you got to get some different gear and things like that. Really enjoyed that a lot. It was a lot of fun. But at the same time, it's just something that I could take it or leave it. The last event that we had, which I don't recall, you had to go out and get some different items. I didn't participate in that one at all. And the one that just started a couple days ago, the Gree event, which is going on right now as I'm recording this, I have no interest whatsoever to take part in that. I know I'm probably in the minority here, but back when I played World of Warcraft, I don't care if you reskinned Christmas or you reskinned Halloween, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, whatever those things were. Even Easter, I think, had an event in the game that was called something different. I just never really got into that because in my mind, I'm a pretty casual player, and I don't want to waste time doing something over here on the side when I could be leveling my characters, doing some content, PvPing with my friends. I just really am simple and enjoy that a whole lot. Leveling your toon, doing the story quests, doing the quests on the different worlds, the world quest lines. That's kind of what my bread and butter is. So I know I'm not the only one out there that doesn't really care for the in-game events, but I know that there's probably a lot more people that enjoy those in-game events. The thing is, I'm not a content locust, was something that we talked about months and months ago. Something, a term that came out of someone that just goes in, devours all the content, and they're just waiting for new content to come out so they can in turn experience whatever that new content is. And with these in-game events, those content locusts, those people that just go in, play for hours and hours and hours, eat up all the content, and they need more content to satisfy them. These in-game events and some of those kinds of things are probably a perfect solution from a business model and from BioWare's standpoint. But for somebody like me that's just casual, enjoys playing, I'm not going to spend a ton of money in the cartel market, but I am going to be a subscriber. I'm going to play 2 to 3, 4 hours a night, depending on my play schedule, maybe a little bit more on the weekends. I don't know if that's casual or not, but it's casual to me. So what is your opinion on these in-game events and holidays? The Life Day tree for Star Wars The Old Republic, the Life Day, different things you get, Life Day Orb, those kinds of things, which is basically a reskinning of Christmas. Did you enjoy that? Did you take part in that? Was it fun for you? Would you rather watch other people enjoy it and just be an outside observer like me? But in-game events, what do you think about them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Are you indifferent to them? For me also, it kind of takes away for some of the immersion of the game when I'm playing a game and I'm in the Star Wars universe and there's something that pops up that's emulating a real world event. If I want to emulate Valentine's Day or Halloween, just walk into Walgreens for like a month and a half before that actual holiday and there is stuff everywhere. I mean, obviously that's in the real world. And when I'm playing Star Wars The Old Republic, it's kind of an escape. It's something I don't really want to be thinking about, all the real world stuff going on around me. Also, there's a group of us that every night when I log in, we do pre-50 PvP. Well, guess what? Last night when I logged in, most of the guys were doing the Gree event, so it kind of messes up my normal play ability to get in there and play PvP with my friends. And that's all of our choices. We pay our money and we get to do whatever we want, so I'm not upset about that, but for me, selfishly, it just kind of messes up my normal schedule in-game. So what do you think about them? Comment down here below at TORWars.com. Love to hear your comments, love to hear your feedback on that, and let me know which events, maybe in any other game that you've ever played, including Star Wars The Old Republic, what's the favorite in-game event that you've ever taken part in? What's the one that you just really enjoyed and thought it was a lot of fun? Well, I hope that stirs up the community blender this week, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of TORWars TV. As always, you can find great Star Wars The Old Republic content at TORWars.com. We have great daily updates at TORWars.com. You can find the best in news, opinion, insight, and discussion updated multiple times a day. Our talented team of writers thrive on feedback from the community, so if there's something you want to read about, be sure to let us know. Make sure you check out the twice weekly podcast as well. We talk about news, opinion, insight, and whatever's going on in the world of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to leave us a comment in the show post below. See you next week.